Hello, welcome to White Threads FlossTube number 96. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk to you about something a little bit different. I've had a conversation recently with Lilian, who is actually the person who asked me to write the book Frisian Whitework, about this sampler here, which is the Whitework Sampler from that book. And as you can see, it's quite long. So Lilian and a group of women in the Netherlands are working their way through this sampler, and she's trying to stitch it ahead of others so that she can point out to them any difficult parts as they get to them so that she can help them with that, which I think is a great idea. And she's been stitching this band here, which one? That one there, which I'll come in a bit closer so you can see, and particularly looking at this motif here. And she had some questions for me. I'm trying to get my finger in the right place. I'm not very good at this. Really bad at it. Let's go down a bit. Yep, right. Okay, it's still finger not in the right place. But that one there. And she's had some questions for me about it. She showed me her working of it and wondered why hers didn't come out the same as mine. So what I thought I'd do to you today and for you today, and I have asked Lilian permission to do this, and it was fine with her because, like me, she wants other people to be able to learn from her learnings. So I want to show you what she made first off, what I pointed out to her were the differences between mine, and then how she went about doing those changes, making those changes, and the difference that it made to her result. So we'll get into it and I'll show you what she did and what I did. Okay, so here we have my stitched example and a photograph of Lilian's stitched example. And her comment was, to pull or not to pull. My aim for row 33 was to achieve that nice rounded effect like Yvette shows in the book. I tried my best. Sadly, my version turns out a square. Am I unpicking? I dare not, for fear of damaging my fabric and so ruining my sampler. So I needed some clarification on what she meant about rounded and turning out square. I wasn't quite sure what she was actually referring to. And so the first thing she said was, Yvette, did you pull while making the asymmetric thingies? Now, the asymmetric thingies are these ones up in the corners here, and they're asymmetric because there's this there's the buttonhole arcs here, and the middle of one has a twist that goes to the center of that, and the middle of the other one has a twist that goes to the corner over here. So they're not symmetrical, they're asymmetric, and that's based on traditional embroidery. So this is based on a traditional embroidery. I did not make it up. So what she wanted to know, first of all, was did I pull when I was working these? And I said, well, yes, I did pull because I needed the stitches to intertwine, but it wasn't any more than that. And I said, I don't think that's where the difference lies. So I had a bit more of a look at it. And what I said to her was the differences I can see between what you and I have are, I think, my arc stitches, which is these ones, the actual ones underneath that create that little bit there, are a touch tighter than hers. So mine have very small gaps in there and hers are a little bit bigger. Now this is actually shown a little bit bigger than this. I tried to print them out about the same, but I got it wrong. But I think that my arc stitches compared to hers are a little bit tighter. And then I said, I think my buttonhole stitches, which are these ones here, have been worked perhaps tighter than hers, but not in a way that lets me cram more stitches in. They're worked tighter, but not necessarily adding more. And I said, I have fewer stitches here, and here, and here, and here, than she has, even though hers look perhaps bigger than mine. And then the thing that I pointed out to her was that my woven bars, here, 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 compared to hers, are narrower and have fewer stitches than hers. And that allows them to bend more. More stitches, as is shown here, is sturdier, much sturdier, and it means it's stiffer as well. But when there's fewer stitches, as here, the stitches, sorry, the bars are able to bend more, and that gives the curve. So I felt that that's where the differences lay. So armed with that information, I'll remove this one and put in Lilian's second version of what she did based on the instructions, the tips that I'd given her. And as you can see, she's got the rounded look here now. And I think she's perhaps she's made her stitches much, much smaller. Let's put these two side by side. So these have been pulled much more tightly. You can see that they are now narrower than that. So she's pulled them down tighter. And that also creates a more open effect here, so that you get more holes. And she's still intertwined in the same way, but you can see that that looks so much more like that. So she was really happy with the differences that my tips gave her. So sometimes it's about knowing how to manipulate different parts of the stitch to get the result that you require. It was really interesting to me that we were able to do this whole interaction over the internet with written words only and photographs, and it didn't have to be a phone conversation or a Zoom session or anything like that. Just with careful observation of what she'd done and with comparing it to what I'd done, we were able to sort that out, and she was able to take those tips and revise what she had done originally and came up with a result that she was much happier with. Now, she did feel that she needed more practice still, but I think what she's done is beautiful, and I actually thought the first one was beautiful as well. It just wasn't the same as mine, but it was certainly not wrong. It was just different. So if in doubt, if you're ever wondering about any of the stitches that I have in my book and you want to just ask me questions, please feel free to. I don't have unlimited time to answer these sorts of things, but if I feel that it will be helpful to others as well, then I would ask that we could do it publicly so that others can learn from it as well. So I hope that was helpful to you today in understanding just different little ways that you can adjust things, adapt things, and come up with a better result. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.